Hey guys, in this episode of John's Arcade, we're gonna get back to work on the Revenge from Mars and see if we can figure out that opto issue because it's driving me mad. And then also, really quick, I wanna mention something. Do you guys know who Ben Heck is? Ben Heck is one of my favorite, if not my favorite YouTube channel. And I watch him religiously every freaking week. He's like an electrical engineer. He does a lot of fun electronics projects. And I've always wanted to do something with him. Well, Sean, this guy Sean in Wisconsin, who's friends with Ben, hooked Ben and I up together. And Ben and I right now are talking about doing some kind of crossover episode. And Ben wants to potentially make something that will help me down here, okay? It could be some kind of modern part for a game, replace some old obsolete part with something modern, some kind of a game enhancement, whatever. We don't know what it is, and I need you guys to help me. Do you guys have an idea for this? What can Ben make me that will help me down here? And by the way, if you've never seen Ben Heck's videos, check them out. Just go to benheck.com. It's benheck.com. Also on YouTube, I watch him every week. He does videos once a week. Great guy, Ben Heck. And if you have any ideas for our crossover episode, how Ben could help me, how Ben could make something for these videos, what could it be? I don't know. Send those ideas to blkdog7@gmail.com. blkdog7@gmail.com. All right, guys, enough of that. Let's get on with the show. Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today we're gonna do a John's Arcade tech video. That is right, this is actually part number 2 of the Revenge from Mars opto troubleshooting, fix, repair, replace. And in this video, guys, we better fix that Revenge from Mars. Now, in the last video, if you guys remember, in part number 1, we kind of diagnosed the issue, okay? We determined that we had an opto issue because the Revenge from Mars in the trough has these little optos, okay? And I ordered some new ones because in the last video, we replaced the optos with some kind of unknown ones that my friend gave me. So I don't really know if they're good. So in this video, we're gonna replace them with some known good ones. I got these from Terry at Pinball Life. They were 75 cents a piece. I actually called up Terry just to make sure I was ordering the right part because it was a little confusing. The part number that's in the manual didn't quite sync up with Terry's part number. And by the way, Pinball Life is a great website. It's a wonderful resource for pinball parts. The pricing's right. He's a real helpful dude, and you can call up and he'll help you and all that. And so anyway, these were 75 cents a piece. There's 2 parts. There's a receiver and there's an emitter. Actually, let me show you guys the problem once again in case you missed the last video. So what's happening here is that when I turn the game on, okay, or open the coin door and shut it, because basically the high voltage is turned off and then turned on. So if I close the coin door there, what happens is all the balls eject. And it happens like every single time. Here, see that? And when you turn it on, it just shoots all the balls. So I've identified that there's a Trough OPTO issue. And I've actually done some research since the last video. I actually had some of you guys tell me too that I need to look at the 10 OPTO board, which is a separate PCB that's underneath the playfield. But first, we're gonna just look at the opto boards themselves. So what I'm gonna do right now is I wanna turn the game off and lift up the playfield here. So I'm gonna go ahead, game's off, and I'm gonna remove the playfield glass. And there is just a simple lock bar here. Basically, you open the coin door. I know I showed this in the last video, but just gonna pull that there, and then the playfield glass slides off. And again, I need to be careful because this playfield glass is special because it's actually a half silvered mirror part of it because it reflects the image from the CRT. Okay, so we have the playfield glass off. So let's kind of come in here and lift this up, and I'm going to show you guys what's going on. Okay, so if you look down here, the opto boards are right here, okay? And we've got one here and one here. One's a receiver, one's an emitter. Again, these little diodes here kind of work like your garage door, you know, like the little safety thing. Like if someone's standing in the middle of the garage door, it won't go down because you're breaking the beam. And this is the same kind of idea here. But what I figured out since the last video is that I can't actually test these, because if you look at the optos through a cell phone, okay, you can actually see if they're emitting or not. And so I'm going to come in here and just remove these 3 screws. And we're going to pull the opto board off, one of them. And it's the transmitter board. Because there's a transmitter board and a receiver board. God damn, that Dragon's Lair is so loud. So I'm going to come in here and just carefully take these 3 screws off. Okay? And I do have the game powered off. So we've got one in here. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to test the opto board while the game's powered up by looking at the optos through my cell phone. And if this all works, we'll all be able to see what's going on. And in the last video, I identified that I had 2 bad optos by putting it in test mode. So if you guys missed that, go back and watch it. Okay, so here's the opto board. It's free, okay? So I'm going to turn the game on and just kind of try to find somewhere to put this where it's not touching anything, because we don't want to short this out. So I'm just going to kind of put it right there, like so. Alright, so let's turn the game on. And so the game's on, it's booting. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it boot, and I'll be right back. Okay, the game is now on. Okay, now my video camera, the frame rate is such that we can't see if those optos are lit up or not. I'm actually gonna turn the lights off here, and I'm gonna turn the light off on the camera, and now we're gonna look at the opto board through my camera. Okay, and you look at that like magic, you can kind of see that the optos, the ones that are working, are lit up. Let me see if I can get the angle here right. Okay, there. See that right there? So that one's working, that one's working, and that one's working. That one is not working right there, and this one right here at the... Oh, that one is working. So right now, the only one that's not working is this one right here. That guy. And then this one is working. However, that one's not reading correctly. So I have an issue right now with these 2 right here. Let me try to put this in the right spot. So you guys can see, if you look through a cell phone, we identify that one of the optos is not lit at all. Okay? And let me turn the game off. So this one here was not lit, and this one was lit, but that one's not reading. Okay, that's the jam opto. So when I put it in test, I can't get a reading out of this one, and this one, of course, isn't lit at all. So this one's a problem, and this one's a problem right now. Visually, this one's a problem. This one's not reading, so maybe the receiver's bad on this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this board. And Terry at Pinball Life told me that, John, you know, when you do this, replace both of them. Replace the transmitter and the receiver, because the ones that he sold me are paired to work with each other, okay? Now, the part number might not be exactly the same as the Bally Williams ones, but if you use his and you replace both of them, it will work, he said. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to replace the transmitter and the receiver on those 2. And if it doesn't work still after we replace these 2, then we're going to start looking at that Opto 10 board, which is underneath the playfield, because that board, I guess, is notorious for having bad traces and stuff that will cause all this. So I'm going to go ahead now and just take all these parts off. We need to get the shroud off. And by the way, you guys told me in the last video that I put this piece in the wrong spot. This piece of metal is supposed to be behind these tabs, and you guys all caught that, which is hilarious. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take all this off, because we need to get the trough off, because we cannot get to the other opto board without removing the trough. And when we put this back together, I'll be sure to put this bar behind this, which I guess is how it was. you guys all caught that, which was hilarious. So all right, let me go ahead now and get all these parts off. Alright guys, I have all the screws off and the trough has pretty much fallen out. And by the way, there's screws on the top here that are holding that in. And so the trough right now is just kind of hanging out here. But I'm going to just take a quick photo. I did this in the last video, but just to be certain that I get these wires back in the right spot. Because we've got those guys there. And then this one goes on like so. Just want to show that is the one that goes there. Okay. Alright, so I got everything disconnected. I need to disconnect this coil. Okay, so I actually didn't remove the balls. They're all in here. They just went flying everywhere. Okay, so we have the trough off here, and here's that other opto board. So let's go to the bench and start working on this. Okay guys, we have the whole trough assembly over here, and so let's work on this board first since it's already off. And now again, we're having issues with this one right here. This one was not lit up when we put it through our phone, so we know that one's not working. And we're going to double check for continuity too, just to make sure our soldering's good. And then this one is giving me problems too. It's not registering. This is the jam opto. I'm going to replace both of these just because so we're kind of just starting fresh here. And so the first thing we want to do is just basically get the old ones off. And so I'm going to add some fresh solder to this, and then we're going to use our solder pullet to remove all the solder. So I'm just adding a little bit of fresh solder. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my solder pullet and just get all this old solder off. On your mark. And so this one looks like it's just going to fall right off. Okay, just like so. Make sure this is all in the camera here. And let's go ahead and do the same here with this one. Okay. Alright, so we have our old optos off, just like so. Okay. And there is polarity on these. You could see screen printed on here. There's a flat side, okay? And on the optos, you're going to find the same thing, that they're not perfectly round. There's actually a flat side on the circle. So let's take our transmitters here. And so there's our flat side right there, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and stick these in, observing our polarity. And yeah, so far this is pretty much exactly what we did in the last video, just with fresh new parts. Okay. And I do think it's important that when you solder these in, that you make sure that they're completely flush with this board, because they have to line up with the receiver. You know, it needs a clear line of sight. Just kind of double checking my work here, make sure this is the flat side. It is. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead here and just make sure that these are flush when I solder them. I'm going to kind of just use one hand here just to kind of tack that in place. Okay. So I'm just putting some solder on the soldering iron. That way I can hold these in flush. Okay. They're actually in there pretty well. I'm going to add just a little bit more solder to them. On your mark. So the next few weeks here, we're going to be going back to Denver and doing more repair stuff and probably some Let's Plays. The John's Quest for video series. I think you guys like those. I don't know. I've been getting some kind of mixed reviews on those. Like, they're kind of bored of the gameplay videos, which is kind of surprising to me. And then there's the guys that really like them. Just trying to make sure this is totally flush here. Okay. So those are on there. Make sure they're totally flat, because we want them aimed. This one looks like it's a little... It's going to come in. Heat both these up. There we go. Okay. So I'm really trying to make sure that these are on completely flat. And because it's kind of like a, you know, it's line of sight. So the transmitter needs to see the receiver. And I'm going to go ahead here. That one looks like it used a little more solder. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead now and cut these leads off. I wonder if I should do a quick continuity test. Because this... Let's see, this lead... See, one of these goes over here. This must be the ground. So two of these are going to beep when they touch each other. Which should be this one. Yep. And then this one goes all the way over to this pin. Okay, so that's good. So those two are soldered in well. And I'm just putting my multimeter in continuity. Now if I want to test these ones, this is going over here somewhere. This is ball 1. There we go. And then this should be our ground, which is this pin. Okay, so those are soldered on well. So I can safely cut these off. And I'm going to cut them just above the solder. Don't want to cut the solder when you do this. Okay, so this board's done. We've got 2 new optos. I'm kind of tempted to go plug this in the machine and see if they all light up now. Why don't we do that real quick? Okay, so I went ahead and plugged the board into the harness here, and I know that this one is for this board. And I'm going to turn the game on. Now I need to be careful because I have the coil disconnected, and that's kind of high voltage. There's these 2 leads right here just hanging out. So I need to be very careful here when I do all of this. So I'm going to leave that all just kind of hanging right there, and I'm going to turn the game on right now. So let me turn it on and let's let the game boot. Okay, the game is booted here. Let me turn the lights off, and let's look at this board now through our cell phone. And let's see if we can see if they're all working, okay? So that one right there is working. That one's working. That's 2. That's 3. That one's working. 4. That's the one we just replaced. That's now working. And that one right there is working. So all of the optos are now working. So we definitely had a bad opto. So all 5 of them are working. Great. So let's go back to the bench. I'm going to carefully put that there. And let's do the other board now. Okay, so we know now that all 5 of the optos are working. The 2 that we just replaced are also working. So this board's good. We're good to go. That's good. That means that we don't potentially have an issue with that board that's underneath the playfield. So why don't I go ahead now and let's do the same for the receivers. And I want to replace those same 2 because we should replace them in pairs. I mean, they're so cheap. They're 75 cents. I'm tempted to replace all of them, but the other ones are working, so I don't really see the need to replace all of them right now. And then I have some spares. I ordered extra. I've got 4 extra. Okay, so we got to remember that the receiver goes on this side here, so when we put it back together. Okay, so here's our receiver board. Same deal. We're going to replace these 2 right here, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and just do exactly the same thing that we did on the transmitter, but do it on the receiver with these two dark optos here. So, all right, let's go ahead and do this real quick.
I don't want the world to end tonight. I just want to know what it will be like. Atomic bombs, disease, mass suicide.
Okay, we have the two new transmitters on here. I tested them for continuity, and the soldering job is good. So we're going to put this back on the trough, and I want to just put this one on real quick just so I don't screw up the orientation, because I know that this side here is the side that this board goes on. So I'm going to screw this down, and then I think what we're going to do, and one of you guys made a suggestion in the last video, and I agree with it, and you said, hey John, you had the trough off. You should have changed the coil sleeve while you had it off. And you know what? I agree with that. Because the coil here, this thing here is what fires and launches the ball. There's a sleeve in there. And I'm pretty sure I have a new sleeve on hand that we can use. And that sleeve is kind of like a bushing, or it's what the coil rides on. And what can happen is that sleeve will get all gummed up with dirt and stuff, and it'll make the coil weak because there's resistance, okay? And a lot of times you can actually make new flippers come back to life just by replacing the coil sleeve. So here's the coil right here, and when that thing gets powered, this thing fires like that, okay? And then the ball gets ejected out of this trough, okay? And inside here, there is a sleeve. So why don't we change that real quick? And looks like we got to just remove these 4 screws, and the whole coil should fall out. Man, that cordless screwdriver battery is kind of low. I should get a nut driver here. Hang on a second. Okay, I went and got a nut driver, which is a lot safer on these hex nuts instead of using the Phillips screw head. I don't want to strip these. You know, we don't have to do this, but I mean, what the hell? We got it out. I don't think I've ever replaced that sleeve. Not that it was having issues ejecting the ball. I mean, our issue was reading the ball. Okay, so I gotta remember how that goes. All right, so here's the coil here, and we need to remove these two now because this bracket is holding it on. Okay, so the coil now should just fall off, like so. Okay. Let's keep. Now there's our sleeve right here. So let's kind of pull this apart, and look at that sleeve. It's just filthy. Okay, it's supposed to look like this, and I think I have the right sleeve. That's not the exact sleeve. Let me go look at my parts bin and see if I have this exact one. 1 second. Okay, I was looking at this here, and I'm actually not convinced that the coil sleeve that was in here was the right one, because this one actually fits pretty well. And these I bought before for the NBA Fast Break for the vertical up kick. So I'm fairly confident this is the right one. You can see it sticks out of the top there. And yeah, that's it. Because this one, yeah, I don't really see what the difference is. So I think we're just fine. So let's go ahead and put this back together. I actually had to rewatch the last video, that the last shot, to make sure I had this right, and this is how it goes. And goes just like so. Okay. And then we just need to throw our 2 screws in here. And you can see the sleeve does come all the way up to that part up there. So I would say that's the right sleeve. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this all back together. So we've got 2 screws that go in here. I actually, you know, looking at this, I thought initially it was black because it's dirty. It's not. This is molded in black. I've never actually seen a black one before. Usually they're kind of this tan or white color. So right now I'm just kind of pushing the coil to the top and then tightening down this bracket, just like so. Okay, and then just kind of test it out. So those sleeves will just, they'll actually, believe it or not, replacing sleeves actually make a big difference, especially on flippers. You'll have a game where you think you need to rebuild the flippers, and really all you need to do is replace that coil sleeve. And I used to have trouble with some of the vertical up kicks on like NBA Fast Break and even my old Mario Mushroom World pin. And I fixed those all, I remember, by replacing coil sleeves. Because they really, if they get gummed up with dirt and stuff, it just adds that much more resistance when it fires that it just kind of slows it down and makes it less powerful. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these 4 screws on here. And this thing was kind of screwed on right in kind of the middle of these slots, because you can kind of adjust this up and down. So I'm going to try to get it in the same exact spot that it was. Okay, so there's our good. Alright, so let's go ahead now and just put the receiver opto on. Actually, this is the transmitter. It's so funny, in the last video, you guys totally caught that I forgot to put one of the washers on, and it's kind of hilarious. But the thing is, I caught it too and came back and put it on. So you guys thought that I didn't put it back on, and I did. Because each of these screws is supposed to have a washer, and in the last video I left one on the table here, and when I was over there I realized it and I came back and put it on. Alright, so this better fix it, man. Okay, so we've got it all back together here. We've got our optos. So let's go ahead and put this back on the game. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead now and put this back on. I'm not going to put the apron on yet, which is that plastic cover here. I'm just going to screw this back on just like we took it off. So let's go ahead and just put this back on real quick.
4 forward. 4 forward. Drift into the right a little. 6.5. 30 seconds.
Okay, I have it back on. I'm going to go ahead and make my connections. I looked at my photo, especially on the coil here, and the red one goes towards this side on the coil wires. You guys can see in there. And we've got our 2 Molex headers. Just kind of plug it in the Molexes here for the opto boards. So this better fix this, man, because I don't want to be screwing around with this anymore. I need to move on to new stuff. Ah, shit. Got a little aggressive there putting that connector on. Okay. All right, so everything's connected here. Let's put the playfield down. I don't have the apron, so we're gonna have to kind of go like this and just make sure that we don't ruin our wood. Okay. So let's throw the balls in here. All right, so let's fire the game up and let's see what happens. Let's see if the balls fire, then we know we didn't fix it. We'll close the coin door. So it's booting, and the coin door is closed, which means the high voltage is on, which means the flipper, the vertical up kick for the trough is live. So if it kicks all the balls out, we still have an issue. If it doesn't, son of a bitch. All right, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. All right, let me put the game on test. Let's put it on. It's on switch test. So I went into the test menu with the coin door and I looked at the monitor up there. So let's get all the balls out. And we're gonna start looking at just kicking all the balls out manually. That's 3. Okay. All right, let me get my screwdriver, and we're gonna see which optos are firing in here, which are not. All right, so we're under the playfield here. I'm gonna take my screwdriver and just verify which of these are working and which aren't. Try to read. All right, so that's ball 4. Okay, ball 4 is working. Try to get in here. I'm reading the screen. It says ball 4, okay. And the next one. There's ball 3. Ball 3's working. That's ball 2. And let me come in through the top here. So ball 1 and jam are not working, okay? I can't get them to fire. Same 2 are still dead. All right, so we need to go to the next step here. Because we verified that they were lit, okay? We saw that, right? So we're gonna have to look at that opto board, which is under the playfield. And so let me get this set up. All right, so the game is off and the balls are out, and we're gonna lift up the playfield so we can get to the bottom of the game. Okay. So we need to get to the boards that are down here, okay? And there's this cover right here, okay? And, man, this is not gonna be easy to get to, is it? Not at all. Sure, but I don't have to pull the playfield out.
On your mark.
All right, let's think about this here. There we go. This is definitely a lot easier. Okay, so let's take a peek in here. The 10 opto board, which one is it? Is it underneath here? Oh, it's over here? Is that it? Where is that board? I thought it was... Is it this big board right here? You know what, guys? I need to research this. I need to figure out which board I'm looking for. Is it this one down here, which is this kind of like driver board? I don't think it is. There should be a smaller board. But I don't know where the hell it is. I wonder if it's this board right here. There's a board right here on the inside. This guy right here. All right, let me go check the manual and see where the hell this board is. I'll be right back. Okay, what's pretty funny is that the reason I couldn't find the board down here is because the board is up here. Dum-dum, it's right here. It's this board right here. So we're gonna pull that board off. I'm gonna take a photo of the connectors on it. Now they make a reproduction of this board because this board is problematic. I guess there's a bunch of parts on here that tend to go bad. So let's go ahead and take a photo of this.
Dark wizard who has infested with treacherous monsters and obstacles.
God, my camera is so freaking slow.
In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues again.
Alright, so we've got 1, 2, there's 4 connectors. It looks like we probably couldn't screw it up, but I'm gonna take a photo anyway.
Your quest awaits.
Okay, so it looks like there's just 2 screws holding it on, and we've got these 4 connectors. Actually, there's 5, I see. So there's 1, 2. These headers are all in pretty good shape. Okay, so we've got those all off. And so I'm going to come in now and just unscrew it. Looks like there's 4 screws holding it on. Don't drop. Okay. So hopefully we do find an issue on this board because I'm out of ideas, man. But we're gonna do this systematically because I was looking at the manual on this board and it says what is what. Okay, so that board should come out now. Okay, so here's our board, and let's just kind of look at it. God, it doesn't look bad at all. So we've got a bunch of resistors here that tend to heat up, headers, stuff like that. So we're gonna reflow some solder, but I gotta say, this doesn't look very bad at all. But you never know. So let's go back to the bench. I'm gonna pull out the manual and let's see which resistor does what, and then we'll get some readings on these. Okay, guys, I have the 10 opto board on the desk here. I actually been doing a little bit of research here, and I actually did some testing too. First things first, I have the schematic out here, and it shows here that here's the LED boards, the photo transistor and the LED, and you could see that they go to J1 and J2 on the 10 opto switchboard, okay? And so if we look at our 10 opto switchboard, we have J1 is right here and J2. And so basically, the LED board goes to J1 and then through all these resistors right here. And then the receiver board goes to J2 through all of these smaller resistors, okay? Now, I have to tell you, this board looks pretty damn clean. I was expecting to see it burnt up. I could see a little bit of heat in this area. It's a little discolored, but not disgusting. I came through with my multimeter and I tested all of the resistors, okay? And these are supposed to be 270 ohm, these big blue guys. And if I test them, if I go through and test every one of them, they're all testing at around 270, 265, 268, and I can't find any that are open or shorted, and it looks like all these resistors are good. 268, 270, 267, 268.5, 268.7, and 269. So all those resistors are testing fine. And then we also have this bank of resistors right here that goes through that J2 feeds into. And I tested all of those. Let me take a look here at the traces, how this looks. Yeah, so all of these connections here from the receiver go into these resistors. And if I test all of those, they're all good. They're all testing about 2K ohm. 1.99, 1.987, and so I don't find anything that's open or out of place. They're all testing about 2K ohm. So all of those are fine. So what next? Well, we got all these diodes. I'd have to really look at the schematic to see where this goes, but based on my research, it's these resistors that usually cause all the issues. Now, looking at the solder joints back here, I think we could touch them up a little bit. They don't look horrible. These ones here look a little suspect, I have to admit. But I was trying to wiggle these, trying to see if they would move on the other side, which is usually a good indicator of a cold solder joint. And I didn't see that at all, okay? So I think what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to reflow J1 and J2 headers, all of them. And then we're going to reflow all of these resistors. Reflow all of these resistors, especially in this area where we could see the heat, okay? And then we're going to put it back together and cross our fingers that we just fixed the problem. Now, if we didn't fix the problem, I have to admit here, I'm kind of at a loss as to where I go next, and I might need some help from you guys. Or I'm going to have to just research this further on the internet, because if I had a dead end here after this, boy, I don't know, man. I mean, there is a possibility that that the optos aren't aimed properly. And by the way, I'm reflowing the headers here. I'm just heating up the header and then adding some fresh solder here. So I'm just putting my soldering iron on one side, coming on the other side, and just adding a little bit more solder. And I'm going to go ahead and just do that on all these headers, especially J1 and J2, because I know that these are fed directly from that opto board, from the transmitter and the receiver boards. But I mean, guys, if this doesn't work, I really was hoping that this would be the last part. What's interesting though is that we replaced the optos and they're lit up. You know, we saw them in the camera. You know, they weren't working before, and now they are. I mean, I don't know for a fact that the receivers are working. But I'm pretty confident that the parts are good. My work was good. And I'm just going to have to research this further. And I guess the next stop there is the driver board, looking at the schematic. So now this 10 opto board is notorious, though, for going bad. And they sell a replacement, fairly inexpensive, a modern replacement. But the thing is, I don't know for certain if it's this board. Because I guess there's two ICs on here that go bad. But I'm going to have to research this even further. Who knows? Maybe I'm fixing it right now. Because that would be great. Alright, so we reflowed all those headers, J1 and J2. Just make sure nothing's bridged. You know, this board is actually in pretty good shape here, so... Alright, I'm going to go ahead now and reflow all these resistors here, because they do look a little suspect. But these big ones are for the transmitter, which we know is working because we saw that through our cell phone. So I'm just kind of just adding a little bit new solder. This sucks. I really thought I'd be done today. I thought I'd be done now. Alright, and we got this bank of resistors right here. Those all look really good, man. The solder looks fine on those. Boy, everything just looks really good. I guess these ICs here go bad. So I don't know if that's our issue. I have no way of testing that. These guys here. The headers all look really clean. Nothing's burnt up. This board is in great shape, man. All right, so let's put this back on and see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead here and just screw this board back on, and then we'll hook it back up. And I really don't think I don't think this is gonna do it, but let's cross our fingers. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. Hell, we could have just fixed it by reseating these Molex connectors. What's weird though is that we did have 2 optos that were out. The only thing I could think of is that if the receiver and the transmitter are just not lined up for some reason. I need to get a new cordless screwdriver. This thing is weak. Which is probably okay because I don't strip things or over torque things. Okay, so I think I should consult my photo, but I could tell this goes like this. Let's open my camera here and look at the photo just to make sure we don't botch this. This clearly has to go here. And this goes like that. I mean, that. Just like so. There's a little LED on here, which is interesting. I'm assuming that's voltage. I'm trying to pull that photo up. Okay, so here's our photo. And this goes like this. So. Okay. So let's turn the game on. And let's see what happens. I do want to see if that LED... I'm going to turn the game on with the playfield up. Okay, so that LED is on. So that LED is lit. Alright. Okay. So the game's on. Let's drop our balls in. And we gotta close the coin door. Yep. This is making me angry. Alright, I'll be right back. I gotta do some research on this. Okay, guys, I have the game on right now, and I pulled the receiver opto board off. Okay, and I had the lights off for a reason here. And I'm just carefully holding this, and I'm taking the flashlight on my phone, and I'm shining it into the receivers. Okay? And watch what happens. I can do this. I can use this to test. See that? So I'm making that one go off with my flashlight. That one's good. That one's good. Hear that? That one's good. I'm just taking my flashlight and I'm holding it up to the opto receiver. That one I cannot make fire. Alright, so... well, these are still bad. Isn't that kind of cool? So I was using my flashlight on my camera, and I was able to make all of these fire, except for these two. And these are the two that are not being read. So, what is causing this, man? I mean, could it be that I've got bad optos? I mean, should I try replacing those again? I'm tempted to do that. Alright, I need to think about this, but I feel like we're kind of isolating the problem a little bit. I mean, these are still not reading, okay? I don't know why. I'm really tempted to try other ones on there, just so I can rule it out. But what are the odds that those are both bad? Alright. Let me think about this and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're back, and you're not going to believe this, but I just figured it out, okay? So again, with the flashlight, that works. That works. That one is receiving. Now here's the two that were broken. Now it works. They all work now. All 5 of them are now working. You're not going to believe what I did. You're not going to believe this, because it doesn't make any sense. I don't even understand how I did this, but I put both of these in backwards. They were upside down. Now here's what's interesting. On the original ones, the flat side is all up, okay? And even the drawing shows the flat side towards this way. On these new replacement ones from Pinball Life that had a totally different part number, the flat side doesn't go up. It goes towards the bottom. Now remember, these LEDs are not perfectly round. There is a flat side that shows kind of the polarity. Well, for whatever reason, the original ones all had the flat side on this side of the board up, and these two new replacement ones need to be with the flat side down, facing the exact opposite way, because now it totally works. So, you know what? I don't know what to make of this. You know, I have to confess here, I've never had to deal with these optos before. I didn't even think this was a possibility. I didn't know that you could put these in backwards, or that the new versions would go in backwards compared to the originals. So that is just bizarre, man. So, alright, I'm going to put everything back together here, and now let's test this while it's in the game and see if it actually reads the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all back together, the same that we've done before, and let's see what happens. Okay, guys, everything's back together here, and I just turned the game on, so it's booting. Let's see if we truly fixed it. And if we did, I gotta tell you, this is a first. I mean, I almost always trust, you know, kind of redoing what I find, because I put those in the exact same way I took them off. And it's really interesting. So, all right, let's drop the balls in. All right, you ready for this? So we're gonna shut the coin door. If it doesn't eject them, we got it. We fixed it. Oh my god. And if I were to put it in switch test right now, so if I go into diagnostics, you guys can't see this because it's up in that monitor up there. So I've got it in switch test right now. And there's the jam opto. Yeah, it's working, guys. We totally fixed it. So everything's registering. So I think I can go ahead now and put... I want to just kick these balls out. I'm just kind of looking up here. Switch. Let's get the balls out real quick. Okay, so I'm just gonna verify with my screwdriver real quick that switch number 1 is also reading, because we basically had 2 switches before that weren't reading. So I'm looking at the screen down here. That's the jam opto, and there's ball 1. Okay, yeah, they're all working. We fixed it. Holy cow, it was that stupid. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the apron back on the game and button this thing up. So I'll be right back. All right, we got the game all buttoned back up here, and you know what? Why don't we play a game? Do you guys want to play a game of Revenge from Mars? Why not? We haven't played this in a while or made a video of this in a long time, and might be kind of fun to shoot it with the 60p here. So let me see if I can get a good camera angle. We'll play a game, and then we'll go do some viewer mails and just kind of hang out for a little bit. Do you guys like it when we hang out on the table, at the table there? Let's see, what's a good angle here? Pinball is such a pain in the butt to shoot. You know that? It really is. It's because it's like this landscape, or actually it's portrait, right? And my camera is landscape, so it's kind of tricky to get the camera in the right spot. And I really want to show you guys the thing in the back, the projected images. All right, let's see how that works. Is there glare? It's not very good, is it? Let's see if we come up a little bit. Let's try that. Well, we'll just play a couple balls or something just to see how it works. Okay, so wants me to choose a mode, and we use the secondary flippers for that. So whatever, we'll just do that one. Mars needs women. Is this like really glary? This game really is like badass, honestly. This is such a good pinball game. So right now we're trying to hit that alien back there. And then it shows like little cartoons. Man, I gotta tell you, I am relieved that I figured that out. Because I honestly thought that, oh my god, there's gonna have to be a part 3 to this video. I was starting to sweat a little bit, and I went on Pinside. I was actually Googling it. I was Googling replaced receiver opto still doesn't work, and some guys on Pinside were saying, well, it could be in backwards. They didn't talk about how the polarity could be different on some of them, and then it kind of planted in my mind, well, maybe it's on backwards, and so I flipped them, and sure enough, it fixed it. Unreal. So, anyway, Revenge from Mars is so good, though. It really is. I love everything about it. It's such an underrated pin, though. I think this is one of those pinball machines that a few years from now is going to be like $4 grand. I think right now it's like 25-ish. When I bought it, it was like around 19.2. And now these pins are pushing 25, creeping up towards 3. I wouldn't be surprised in a few years if it's a $4,000 game. So I think if you want to get one of these, I think you should do it sooner than later, because it is such a good game. And I've been hearing more and more people talk about it lately too. And the pin snobs, they kind of throw their nose up at this game because of the video portion of it, I think. But I think that's foolish, because the game's fun. Anyway, yeah, that's it. So we got it all fixed. Everything's working. I am one happy guy, I'll tell you that, because that is one thing off of our list now, guys. So I think the next thing that we're going to work on down here is, I'm going to end this game. The next thing that we're going to work on is going to be the 720. That's the next project. And, oh crap, where are my viewer mails? Let me go get those real quick. Okay, so I got the viewer mails here, and again, I want to mention, I mentioned this at the top of the show. If you guys have any ideas for a Ben Heck John's Arcade crossover, let me know. And basically what we're talking about here is that Ben would make something for me, something that would help me out in the basement here, and could could be anything, you know, some kind of a modern board that plugs into these old games that helps give me some new functionality. You know, I thought, well, how about some kind of high score board that would plug in, that would tweet a high score? I don't know, something like that. It can't be too crazy though. The idea's got to be somewhat reasonable. The scope can't be too gigantic, you know, so anyway, I'm talking to Ben about that. It's kind of exciting because I am truly a fan of Ben Heck, and so I would love to do some kind of crossover with him just because I truly admire him and his channel. And if you guys have never seen Ben Heck, seek him out, man. I guarantee you'll like it. And he releases new videos once a week, and it's just fantastic. I watch him in bed. I love Ben Heck. So I really want to do something with him because I just think he's great. So anyway, let's move on to viewer mail. If you guys want to send viewer mail, send them to blkdog7@gmail.com. blkdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, please put viewer mail so I can find them. This next one is from Thomas. He says, "Hi John, I just wanted to ask you, there was a car wash down the road for me that used to have an arcade with an Indiana Jones, a skill tester, some shooting games, and 2 Fast and Furious racers, but now it's gone. Anyway, I've recently been driving past the car wash and saw the cabinet of the gun game completely gutted, so it's only the cabinet. But worst of all, they are using it to hold garbage cans, like a bin holder. I just wanted to know if I should ask the owner if I can buy it and convert it to MAME. No way in hell I'm converting it back. Thanks. P.S. I've attached a photo of it. This is the best photo I could find, and I've crapped it for legal reasons, okay? Legal reasons? It's just a picture of a car wash." So, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a game back there. See that? There's a game. So, you know what, man? Listen, if there's a gutted cabinet and it's a crappy gun game, who knows? A dynamo cabinet? Man, I wouldn't give that guy much of nothing for that. That's the kind of thing you get for free, dude. And, you know, if you're going to take that cabinet and put a computer and an LCD in it, I don't know, man. I would try to get that for, like, next to nothing. I wouldn't pay more than, like, 25 bucks for that. Free would be ideal, that kind of thing, you know. Doesn't sound like it's very appealing, but it might be a great shell, you know, for a MAME cabinet. And maybe the controls are still there, but it's a gun game, you said. So, I don't know, man. I would go for free on that one. The next one's from Lewis. "Hey John, I'm in the garage. Do you have an address or P.O. box you can give me? I'd like to send you something. That would be great for your future cabinet restores." You know what, Lou? I'm getting this a lot lately. People wanting my address to send me stuff. This is coming up a lot, like multiple times a week, and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to get an address or a P.O. box. Because I should have one. I should have a John's Arcade, you know, address that you guys can send stuff to. And I'm going to try to take care of that in the next week here. And I don't think I'll publicly post the mailing address. So if you guys want to send me stuff, and I appreciate when you do, I think it's actually kind of fun. You guys can email me and I'll share it with you, blkdog7@gmail.com. But I think that within the next week here, I'll have that address set up. And all those guys that have sent me emails asking for my P.O. box, I'll reply to you in the next week or two here because I plan on getting one because I think it's time. Because it just keeps coming up every week, people wanting to know my address to send stuff. And I like getting stuff. It's fun. Next one's from Giuliano. "Hey John, hopefully this one makes the show. I know you must sift through God knows how many of these. Anyways, I've been watching your videos since your gyrus restore. I'm currently in the market for a house. To give me and the viewers a better idea of your basement, what would you say the footprint of it is, the arcade is? It pretty much looks like you have it set up in an E shape, but you are just missing the middle leg. I know any basement has potential to become a personal arcade, but yours just seems so ideal. Also, would you ever considering finishing your basement or keeping it as is? Also, any info would be great, man. Love the videos and always keep up the great work, Giuliano." You know, the basement down here, I think this basement itself is about maybe 1,000 square feet. Maybe a little more. The arcade itself is taking up, I calculated this a while ago, I want to say I'm using about 600 to 700 square feet, around there. It is an L shape, okay? We have this kind of long corridor here, and then it kind of doglegs out. And And then this closet area, if I were to get rid of this, I would gain a lot of space because there's this like storage right here. But we've got like, you know, I got like my guitar stuff in there, and we've got like holiday stuff in that closet back there, like, you know, Christmas decorations and the Christmas tree and the Halloween stuff. You know, I thought about getting rid of these closets. I don't think I can though, because we would lose that storage space when we need it. But yeah, I think the usable area down here is somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 or 700 square feet, and I have 35 games down here, and that's counting like the Mega Touch and you know, the red tent. If I were to get rid of this table, I could probably get 2 more games if I got rid of this table and the Mega Touch, which I don't want to though. And people have suggested this, by the way, many times. John, get rid of that popcorn table and the Mega Touch counter. You don't need. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do need that down here because I like this little area because it kind of gives the basement a little bit of breathing room. Because if this was just all games all the way down, it's not very social either. Because when we come down here, this table is kind of a focal point. That TV is a focal point, and I like that, okay? And if we didn't have this little island here in the middle, it wouldn't feel like there's any kind of central location, you know, like somewhere to sit and rest and talk. Whereas with this table and even the Mega Touch and the TV, it just kind of adds this kind of casual spot, a little resting area in the arcade. And I really believe that this adds a lot to the arcade, so I will never get rid of this part. And also in the videos now, this is kind of where we do this. So anyway, yeah, I hope I answered your question. About 700 square foot, maybe, which isn't a lot of space, really. But it's plenty. Next one's from John. Hey, John, I love the channel as always. Just some constructive criticism. The last couple of videos that featured just gameplay had no interest for me. If you're going to do these, could you at least add viewer mail at the end, which does interest me? Would love more John on the road viewing personal home arcades, please. Arcade reviews and viewer mails is always great. Also, you need to check out and visit TNT Amusements. His YouTube channel is amazing. Have a great day. Have a great day. Best, John Tapper Manta. Well, John, that's kind of interesting to me because so I've been doing those John's Quest for videos, right? We got John's Quest for Donkey Kong, 300,000 points, and John's Quest for Donkey Kong Jr. to get 100,000 points. And I get the sense that you guys in general like the gameplay videos, but I've had a couple guys say that they don't enjoy them as much as the tech stuff or the on-the-road videos. So I don't know what to do about that, you know, because I do want to do those gameplay videos. I don't think those will ever be my big, meaty Sunday videos like this one. But I think those are good midweek videos, and I think people enjoy them. I think some people do. I've noticed that those videos aren't getting as much views as the like on the road videos, and I expect that because those are just little gameplay videos. But you know, John, I think I'm still gonna do those. I think people like them. I'm not gonna do them as my main Sunday video. They're always going to be, I think, bonus videos. And as far as the on-the-road stuff, guys, we got a lot going on still because I still have 3 more Denver videos to show you guys, and they are good on-the-road vids. So the vid after this, the next one, probably Tuesday-ish, maybe Wednesday, will be another on-the-road video. And I think we're going to go to a big retailer that's been in business for a long time. So lots of cool stuff in that warehouse back there. And the TNT thing, that keeps coming up. Everybody wants me to go down and see Todd Tucky. I'm going to do that. We're going to try to do that this summer. So stay tuned for that. I haven't talked to Todd yet, but I will. I'll reach out to him and see if he's up for me coming down there. Next one's from Bobcat UK. Not the real Bobcat UK. He says, what is happening at Fun Spot? John, I hear there will be no ACAM Fun Spot tournament in 2015. Is this correct? If so, what is happening? The largest classic arcade in the world would not have a gaming tournament is not right. Somebody somewhere has dropped the ball on this one. What are your feelings on this? And are your cloth posts correct in that Arcade Outsiders will host a tournament at Fun Spot that weekend? Great to see you at 15,000 subscribers. Love the lower downtown 1-up video, not the real Bobcat UK. All right, this is true, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any intimate details. I haven't talked to anybody at Fun Spot, but it appears to be fact that the annual Fun Spot ACAM Classic Arcade Tournament that I look forward to every year. I go to this thing every year. Me and my buddies go up there, we get a cabin, we make a weekend of it. It is a great time. Well, on Fun Spot's website this week, it says that the tournament has been canceled. And I'm like, what? Because it's like part of my year. It's what I do. I go up to Fun Spot every year. It's always the first weekend after Memorial Day, which is around the last weekend of May, first weekend of June. So I couldn't believe it. So I said, all right, maybe I'll still go up there and have a tournament, but I'll organize this, okay? I'll make it a John's Arcade, Arcade Outsiders, Video Game Outsiders tournament, right? I'll invite all communities, and Clove too. So VGO, Arcade Outsiders, John's Arcade, and Clove. What if we did our own tournament? What if I talked to Arcade and had somebody go there and record the scores? Now, of course, I need to ask Gary Vincent if this is okay. Can I do this? And we wouldn't bother him. We wouldn't really need his help. You know, I'll do everything that we need to do. But maybe we can all meet up at Fun Spot. Would you guys go? Would you guys go to Fun Spot for a John's Arcade, Video Game Outsiders, Arcade Outsiders, and Clove tournament? I think it could be a lot of fun. You know, I've done a lot of tournaments at Fun Spot. I know how to do them, okay? Because I've done a lot of local tournaments. I've done VGO tournaments up there. It's nothing new. I can do it, all right? So if you guys want to meet up there, let's talk about this. But I need to talk to Gary Vincent first and make sure he's kosher with me blabbing about this like right now. But I don't know why it's canceled. It's mysterious to me. I also heard, and I know this because I always volunteer, that they're not doing PAX East either. So I hope that Fun Spot's okay, guys. You know, I don't know. But I know Mike Stuhler chimed in on my thread at Clove. Now, Mike Stuhler is on the board at ACAM. And he said that it wasn't their decision, it was actually Fun Spot itself. Because, you know, ACAM is a not-for-profit part of Fun Spot. And then you have Fun Spot, which is this big arcade that has redemption games and bowling alleys and a bar. And, you know, that's kind of run by, I think, a different management group, or what's the guy's name's Lawton or whatever. So I don't know if they decided they didn't want to do it this year and didn't talk to Gary and Mike. I don't want to speculate or guess, but something's up. And I'm gonna reach out to Gary Vincent this week and ask him, can I organize something? Can I tell people to come meet on that same weekend? Would you guys go? So don't make any plans yet. Don't rent a cabin or anything. Don't do anything drastic yet, because I need to clear this with Gary. But I think he'd let me do it. But I don't know. I'm pretty bummed about that because I love going there that time of the year. It's just a tradition, and I'm just a little. I'm just beside myself because I just look forward to it. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Pretty crazy how the Revenge from Mars thing worked out. It's fixed, though. We got one project down, and we've got a couple more to go. We're going to do the 720. I want to rebuild the power supply in the Mad Planets. We need to look at the Tempest. I think I need to redo the edge connector and maybe reflow some solder on the monitor. But all that's going to be coming up, and then more gameplay videos. I still want to get back to the Atari 800 stuff. I've got that Spectrum, that ZX Spectrum that Leslie sent me, Dean. So there's a lot on my plate. We got no shortage of topics here, guys. And spring's going to be here soon. We're going to get working on that Quantum. I can't wait for that, man. I cannot wait to get back to the garage. But anyway, the next video is going to be another Denver video. And then, so look for that later, in probably midweek. And if you've never subscribed to my channel, now would be a great time. I release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. So go ahead, click subscribe if you want to keep up with all of my videos. And then, of course, I have two podcasts, Video Game Outsiders and Arcade Outsiders, which is videogameoutsiders.com and arcadeoutsiders.com. I do both those podcasts live every Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on allgames.com. And of course, my band, The Kill Screens, the music in these videos is from my band. By the way, if you guys want to get a physical CD, the Kill Screens physical CD, you better buy them soon from Amazon because I'm running out of them. And we have no intention of making any more of that first CD. Amazon requested I send more inventory. I just sent a handful of more CDs. Once those are gone, I'm going to have a hard time filling any future orders. So if you guys want the Kill Screen's physical CD, the album's called Science Fiction Movie, you're going to have to order that pretty soon. Amazon and CD Baby should have those in stock within the next week or two. I just mailed them yesterday. So once they're up and available for sale, when those are gone, I'm gonna have trouble filling those orders unless Matt has some at his house I'm not aware of. So I need to talk to Matt. But my inventory here is about blown out. So anyway, that's it. Enough of whatever. I got nothing else to say. We're done. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Later and bye.